Hello, everyone, and welcome to horrornightoasis, a radio show where we discuss all the latest movies and news from the world of horror. Joining me tonight, as always, is my co-host Ian. Ian, are you there?
I hope so.
Yeah, same here, man. I know you've been down in the dumps, as they say, and it's been kind of difficult on my end here recently. But we're here to continue on. Well, we're not continuing on anything. We got through our marathons, so we're just here to talk about a horror film. And given the fact that school is back in session uh, and all the fun stuff that goes along with that, we decided it. And honestly, we've been thinking about doing this for a while. Just some kind of slasher esque, back to school slasher film. Um, and technically, we got that and a little bit more with tonight's film, um, which is always a nice surprise. Um, but yeah, so we decided we might be able to get another one in before the end of the month, before our next marathon in September. So we decided to just do a couple school, college related films, and this is the first one that popped up on our radar when I was looking for titles that we could review. And so I guess we'll just go ahead and get into it. And that is Welcome Week, a college horror anthology. Um, Now, Welcome Week is follows, I believe it follows Andrew, and there's sort of a bad thing that's happened with his bloodline in a sense, um, where years prior, again, it doesn't really give a date when all this is happening, but his four older siblings who attends college or enrolls in this campus unfortunately die, and now it's his turn um, to deal with the consequences of, I'm assuming, a curse, a family curse. I don't know. It's not really given much thought. Really, it's just like, oh, my family, my brothers and sisters all died before me, and in bizarre circumstances. Well, except for one, but we'll get into that. Um, but so yeah, um, so Andrew, he is roommates with Josh, and Josh wants to go party. They're not like buddy roommates. They're just they ask for one bedroom, but they got bunked together basically. Um, and of course, Andrew, he wants to stay in because he doesn't want to die technically, and Josh wants to go out and party, and Josh is talking to this girl in this orientation class, where the dean comes on there and starts talking about uh, what you'll be doing, you know, for college and all the minor details of freshman year in a college. Um, and so she invites him to this. It's supposed to be a party, but it doesn't turn out to be that way, because things fall through and it just isn't what it's supposed to be. And at the same time, there's this mask killer going around, um, in like a sort of a doctor's coat with the mask, and the hair is like in a bun. You can basically tell it's a female killer. I mean, it's fairly obvious from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Um, but that's sort of the gist of like Andrew. So um, his turnabout is he's getting chased by a masked killer, um, and so he starts telling Josh his basically his life story involving his brothers and sisters in an anthology series of events, uh, talking about how his siblings died in various ways, um, and what happened. Well, you already know what happened. They died, but still, like what the events that led to them dying. So we have our first story, which involves Elias, and that one deals with like a curse, not a curse, but like a cult sacrifice. Then Lucas, Marie, and then Evelyn. That's the four stories, and of course Andrew is our wraparound story. Um, and before we get into like the minor details of everything, I'll just kind of leave it at that for a second. And so Andrew, basically, they're going to this party, and the killer strikes Kevin, which is who's watching the door of this dorm. And then Kevin's girlfriend comes along, and she's trying to find Kevin. He's not at the door. She uses the phone app to locate Kevin's whereabouts. She starts getting attacked by the killer and getting drugged to the car. And then that's when Andrew sort of saves the day, saves her. And for some odd reason, he's just like, we got to find Kevin. Like, Kevin's like the superfluous character, like nobody. And like, it's his life's mission to find Kevin. Which just seemed odd, but I guess he's supposed to be the strong-willed character, I guess, and he just wants to be the hero. I don't know. If for the whole reason of like, I don't want to go to the party because I'm gonna die, and don't want to get into situations. He really put himself into situations where he's gonna die, in general. So I don't know. But anyway, once Josh calls 911, he gives out the information of Andrew, and then that puts a manhunt on for Andrew for like the police and security, and it puts out the threat out there of like, oh, you're the killer, basically. And so the girl that they're going to the party with, she's trying to do her best to put them off, like it's not him, but it fails. And so, as I said, they're trying to sneak through the college, hiding from the cops and security guards, and while also trying to save Kevin, while Andrew is telling Josh stories about his dead siblings and how they died years prior at this college. And that's technically the gist of the movie. As I said, it's an anthology film, and each story, some were okay, some just didn't really make sense, and some were just like, you just brought this on yourself. But yeah, like for what it is, it's fine. It's very, a couple films I always do this. A couple films came to mind, where it's, again, this sort of, low budget regional sort of film. A lot of people coming in, involved making it. It just kind of reminded me of the very first volumes of Blood film that PJ Starks did. It's just like very straightforward, to the point, just like shooting it the best you can, and just like pulling out this film, like sort of the very first volumes of Blood. And then also, for some reason, I know it's not technically in the same realm, but it just had that aura to it, was Horror High, the one shot by the people in the high school, and about the monster, the Tardy terror movie about the Tardy monster. It's just sort of reminded me of that too, where it's just like, again, a bunch of people coming together, just making this project. And it definitely shows that in the end credits, when it's showing all the people involved and all the directors making this film. It's just it's a very, labor of love project. And even though the film wasn't the greatest, I can appreciate everything that they did going into it to make the film. I just thought the stories kind of weren't all that great, especially given the circumstances surrounding, oh, my brothers and sisters all died in mysterious ways, and like, you kind of expected more. I kind of expected like maybe like the bloodline of his specific family. I mean, obviously it's some kind of curse, but they don't really bring it up. Like, it's just like maybe something happened with like a year prior, like a father or mother who went to the school, and something happened there, but no, it's just like mysterious circumstances or happenstance of events that involve that they're carrying, that his sister or brother are just involved in particular, it's just like miraculously became involved in, especially the first one,
Yeah.
story with uh, Elias and the sacrifice cult thing. Um, I expected a little more with the stories. It's just like some of them weren't really all that thought out. Mainly the third one, I'm still struggling to figure out what that one was about. Um, I was sitting there like I was going through writing, like I was getting the names, and like underneath of them, I was writing, okay, so this person dealt with a sacrifice. This one had um, uh, the swells, and then I get to the third one, like, what the hell was that story about again? And I was just sitting there like, I just finished watching this movie like 45 minutes to an hour ago, and I don't even recall what that story was about. It's just like, I mean, I'm still trying to rectify what that story was about. Um, but again, and then the fourth one with that one was just like, I get it, but it just felt like she just brought that on herself. Again, they kind of give you a reason why at the end of it with the credits, um, delving with suicide and stuff like that. But still, that one just like they could have done something more with that one. But nonetheless, for an anthology film, it's fine. Um, the stories just needed more structure, and like even though I like the second story, it's probably my favorite, with the swells, um, because it's sort of body horror in a sense with all the pimples
Oh
and
yeah.
pus and blood and
You
all the
do
other
like your
stuff
body
going around
horror.
there. So I kind of enjoyed that aspect of it. Um, acne and pimples and all that fun stuff. Um, but like the rest of them just kind of felt uninspired in a sense, and just like it felt like, oh, we need a reason for this one to die and a reason for that one to die, and it's just like it didn't really make a whole lot of sense, like why this specific bloodline has this happening to them.
Yeah.
Um, and that's one of its demerits, in my opinion. It's just like there wasn't enough reasoning or thought to why. It's just because, and it's all in these peculiar ways, and it's just like it didn't have like a flow to it. Like I thought, like maybe, you know, there's like when it first started out, it was like this. For some reason, I was thinking it was like this. Uh, the cult situation and being brainwashed and sort of like a zombie high mentality, or disturbing behavior sort of mentality to it, where like they're doing something, but it doesn't even that doesn't even come into the story at all. It's just he's a you know I don't want to get into spoilers yet, but it involves sacrifices, cult sacrifices for reasons. um I don't know, man. I didn't mind the film, but there was a lot that it could have been improved upon. And it just felt like they were just, I'm not saying tossing out ideas, but it's just like there wasn't a good flow to the stories, one into the other. It's just like, and then this happened, and then this happened, and it was just like happened for half of them. Like it just didn't give a good flow, and there was like no reasoning for anything or explanation. It was just like, and they don't even really, like I said, they don't really go into a curse or anything like that. It's just like, oh, my siblings die at this college in weird ways, and then I went behind my mother's back to enroll in this college because I want to fight the curse or something. I want to prove them wrong. I have no idea. It's just one of those things just to move the plot forward. Um, with this mass killer that's just like barely there except for the beginning and the end, honestly. Um, which is easily predictable who the killer is. But overall, it was fine. It just kind of, I wouldn't say meandered around, but it was just kind of there, it wasn't really exciting. The stories weren't that intriguing. It was just fine, it was just, average is the best way to put it. It was just average. But Ian, I'll give your
Yeah.
thoughts and then we'll go back and forth.
No, I agree. I felt like this movie was lackluster in a lot of spots. And I was sitting there like I even forgot what the third one was about. It took me a minute, like her being the vessel, and like or whatever, like that. Like all of these kind of felt out of place. I was really hoping that it would be more like, because he was like, I have to, get sacrifice 5 people, do the sacrifice thing. And I thought it would be continuous, but then it goes from sacrifice to,
Fever.
yeah, like a disease. And then I don't even know what the fuck the third one, the whole point with that one was.
Yeah, that's just nothing, honestly. Like,
I was just like,
he's like a Scottish, and then like she's like blacking out, and then like she's tied up, and then dies, and then they die, and then I don't. It honestly, after you have the first one dealing with sort of a sacrifice, and then you have the third one sort of be the same thing, it just kind of they equal out, like one overcomes the other, and just like the third one, just like it had no point, honestly. And if it was there, it was very shoddily done.
yeah. Then it went to suicide.
Yeah.
And then our wraparound story of slasher. I mean, I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to throw different elements of different horror genres and all that, into it. And I commend them for it. They probably were working on a low budget, which, I mean, obviously they were. And it's probably like a bunch of inexperienced kids making a movie for the first time. So this is, I get it. The wraparound story I thought was okay. Like, I kind of wanted more from it. The characters were kind of bland. This isn't a nitpick, but I did love, like, the obvious, like fake knives and stuff that they were using, but like,
Yeah.
how good the practical effects were, which honestly I was kind of surprised.
Oh no.
I was like,
Yeah, I didn't expect
okay.
Decapitation.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. I was like, that one scene in the second part, I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. Like, that was good. That was some good effects.
The X-Acto knife in the throat. Yeah.
Yeah. And then that one guy walking around with blood all over his shirt. It was like pink. I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, it's
no, like that's another thing. Like I know it's like the effects were actually good. That's again one thing that like really threw me off as well. Is like for the film that's like so lackluster and plain, like they had some solid effects, which is like totally out of left field.
Especially considering we've been getting so used to like the really bad CGI effects for some of the movies that we've watched in our marathon. But you can tell, like, they put a lot of heart into it. Like, it might have not, like, I guess, them trying to think of, like, individual stories to go with the wraparound story. might have been a little off-putting.
Yeah, they needed to like come together or talk about it just to make the stories more cohesive, because
Yeah.
it just felt like disjointed for most of the stories. Like, and then this, going back to like that happened, this happened. It was like it seemed out of place for like the wraparound, and like, oh, my sister jumped off a building, and like this one involved a cult sacrifice, and this one died of a fever of acne and pulse, pus and all that stuff, and just like it just they all seem disjointed.
Yeah, I mean, other than the fact that they were all family dying in weird ways, like that's all that it felt like they were trying to do. Just like what weird way can we kill them? And I mean, the stories themselves, other than the third one, weren't that bad.
No, like I said, the second one was my favorite besides the wraparound,
Yeah,
because it made. I mean, I like the little contained little body horror stuff like that. So, and then I like the teacher giving the diatribe about what to do when you have the fever, and like he's
yeah,
going about it the wrong way. So it's just kind of that was kind of funny. Um,
yeah.
and like you did it the wrong way. It's supposed to be vertical instead of horizontal.
And make sure the blade's clean.
Yeah. So
But
like I said, that's probably that's
yeah,
probably the best of the stories. I mean, like the first one. I mean, again, if they went on a little bit with the whole cult thing or the satanic whatever the first one was, like I said, like a lot of the stories were just like the idea was just like it was faintly hanging on. It's just like it was barely there. At least the second one had it was there. Even though like the reasoning why didn't make sense, but it was there. Um, like the first one with Elias and doing the whole YouTube vlog and talking about his first week on campus, and then like his Damien, the roommate, which is obvious. He's like acting funny, and he's in this house, and I'm gonna find him in his own game and follow him to class, and that one's that sort of got a little campy, sort of cringy at times. Where it's just like, this isn't doing me any favors. Um,
yeah. I was
and
getting
then like
very
again, and then you have the good, the decent second one, and then like the third one just falls off the cliff, and then like the fourth one doesn't really bring your hopes up, because it's just like, so we're going to the third one that made no sense to this one where it's literally there's no reason, like I understand the reasoning because of the whole curse family dying thing that she can't handle it. I get it, but it's just like we're gonna end it with that, you know. I don't know.
yeah.
It just felt like the flow was just off, and like I said, it's just too disjointed.
Yeah, I was just like, what happened in the last one too? Like, I get it. It was a psychological thing.
Yeah.
Like, was that other person really there or not? I kind of get that, but I wish they would have explored that a little bit further, given us like, you know, and
Yeah,
then
that one didn't even felt like it was a curse. That one just felt like she can't control herself. She was having, of course she had those thoughts, but still, it's just like you can't really blame that on a curse. That could have just been her mentality in general. After losing, I guess it's supposed to be implied like that. That it's just like the sadness hanging around her in the form of that one girl, that she's seeing. But I don't know.
yeah, and I mean, but the rest of it, I mean, it was just felt like unfinished stories, and I get it. Like most anthology films sometimes feel like that. But I wish they would have given a little bit more time on the side stories. But I don't know how I don't really like the idea of it being his siblings. Like, get it? Maybe like random college stories that he heard about. I think would have been made more sense than just, oh, this whole family's dying off in various different ways that he knows, like the intimate details about when he wasn't even there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think it would have made a little bit more sense that it's
Sort of like an urban legend or something like that.
Yeah. Instead of just, oh, this is my brothers and sisters. Why the fuck would you go to college? Like,
Exactly.
it's like, I mean, I'm
And
sorry.
that mom on the phone for half of them, she's really holding it together well for losing 4 kids.
I was like, God damn, how many children did this woman have? It's like the first one didn't succeed, so let's try again. But it's like, I just want to know, like, and I feel like it would have made more sense if it was like a continuation of the first story of like how everybody has, all of his siblings were got by the same people in different ways. I think I could have, I would have been more okay with that.
Yeah, if I could done, I'm right with you on there. Have not, wouldn't say Damien, but still like people of that, in that cult just coming out besides Damien and like being involved. And like, of course, they would go back into the wraparound with the mass killer where like now it's this person's turn for Andrew's story. And like maybe the fever was like caused by one of the cult members doing something, changing out something, causing the fever to go around that gets on Lucas. But it just seems like it's just for nothing for half of the stories. And like again, if they did that whole cult thing and then like weave that into the third one, I could understand it where it made somewhat sense. Because they would be involved, the Scottish guy would be involved. How and maybe somehow I don't know how you would lean that into the fourth one, but maybe it's just like playing games, like one of her roommates or something is involved and like is messing with her mind or something like that. I don't know. So it's a possibility that they could have weaved it in there, but again, it's just as I said, it just felt like, or as we both mentioned, it just felt like just stories for each individual person who directed each segment coming up with their own idea. And then it just like, again, comes in, when you watch it, it's just, as I said, disjointed. Because that's the only real term or phrase to use for the film is just disjointed. Because none of the stories or segments really flow into one another. And it's just like, they're just there, just like no rhyme or reason. It's just like, oh, here's a random story, and it just involves Andrew's siblings. I don't know. Yeah, but like I said, it's not the worst thing we've watched, and it's not like there's definitely a heart to it, and it's just as you said, just or what we mentioned, it's just that low budget, go out and make your own movie, just like a bunch of people coming together making a project, and you put your best foot forward, and that's what I think they did. They really tried because there's a lot of effort put into the film, but it's just very, just not well rounded for an anthology.
I definitely agree with that. I mean, but I'm glad that they attempted to make something, and it's definitely not the worst thing ever. I mean, I was laughing at their movie props, and I was like, I kept saying to myself, it's like, man, they really went all out on the used all their budget for the special effects they were doing, and couldn't get any like nice looking knives or anything. I was like, but I felt like it added to the charm of the movie anyway.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Honestly, they should have just did the whole killer aspect, the wraparound for the main film, because that was like, honestly, I was intrigued by that part more so the stories. It's not the most original thing, but I liked what they were doing with it, so they could have sort of lumped that in there and done something with it. But I digress. But
yeah,
yeah, honestly, there's not really much else to say about Welcome Week. I don't know if I would really recommend it. I mean, if you're into anthology films, I mean, yeah, but there's like again, some of the stories just don't mesh well with one another. They don't flow well, and just like they kind of don't make sense to the whole wraparound, because it just feels out of place and for what's supposedly happening, and they don't really delve into it that much, for the reasoning why everything's happening to this specific family. Um, that just kind of felt like shoehorned in, like, oh, people are dying, make up your own story to how they died. It's just like fill in the blank, sort of. Everyone got the same prompt, but they felt it. What is it, Mad Gabs or something like that, where you get the same thing but you fill it in differently or word it differently. I don't know. It just
I
felt
think
like
so.
that. Where like, this character died by boils, and and then this character dies by cult. So I don't know. I guess, I mean, if you're into anthology films, it's not the worst out there. I mean, come on, Tales from the Hood 2 is pretty bad. Um, so it's not the worst. Um, so again, if you like Volumes of Blood, those 1 and 2, I can see you getting some enjoyment out of this one. I just wish the stories were done better. When there's only like 2 solid segments, and that's the wraparound and the fever. Um, the other ones just kind of felt superfluous. But again, there's a lot of heart put into it, and the effects, do come out of left field, as I mentioned, because there's a lot of, the wraparound story has a lot of stabbings and decapitations and people getting impaled by dismembered arms and hands by the bone. Um, so again, you have like the 2 best segments are the ones that have like the most practical effects. The other ones are sort of mainly story driven, and those kind of fail, in my opinion. Um,
Yeah,
but it's fine. Like I said, it's very average. It's just middle of the road average. I mean, I get, I appreciate the effort and the everything that they did going into the film, but as a whole, it just didn't come out as one would expect it to be. And again, either that could be limitations or just, I'm not going to say too many hands in the basket, but again, there was a lot of moving parts. So maybe just like some of them didn't mesh with one another, and that's why the stories kind of feel a little off kilter. I don't know, but it's okay for what it is. But it's nothing to go really rush out to go watch, you know.
yeah,
And I mean, it is rather lengthy. It's like 140, and it's just like it feels 140. Because I was sitting there
yeah,
like, geez, this is just, you like, at least with some anthologies, you have fun with them. Like Creepshow's 2 hours, but you're having fun with it, and you can, it doesn't feel 2 hours almost. Of course, that's George Romero. It's a totally different entity besides
yeah,
random indie people. Um, but still, like it's fine. It's just nothing really to rush out for. I mean, it's a passion project. dedicated individuals to make a feature, and that's what they did. And again, it might not come off the best, but they tried and seemed like they had fun with it. And like, again, props, but the film just kind of doesn't have that same mentality as the effort put behind it.
Yeah.
But Ian, any final thoughts before we call this one a show?
Not really. I think we talked about everything that could be talked about.
Yeah. Well, with that said, I'm going to put a bow on Welcome Week, a college horror anthology film. As I said at the beginning of the show, we might be able to get another show in for August before we follow through our September marathon, which not going to give away yet, but I think Ian knows what we do for September that we started last week. So it's going to be fun to go through some more of those type of films because it was a fun marathon last year when we did it. So I'm looking forward to it, which we'll, of course, mention next week on our final show of August. So, Ian, as always, it's great talking with you. Hope everything goes well. And I appreciate everyone for listening, and we will see you next time on Horror Night Oasis.
Good night.